Welcome to our long division lesson, dividing a 3-digit dividend by a 1-digit divisor with a remainder. Now let's look at an example showing the terms in division, and we're using our number sentence. 184 divided by 2 equals 92. 184 being our dividend, 2 our divisor, and 92 quotient. Now what do these terms tell us? What do these terms mean? Dividend. This is the number that is being divided or broken down into smaller parts by the divisor. The divisor, this is the number that divides or breaks up the dividend into smaller parts. Quotient, this is the name of the smaller parts. Now, doing our long division problems, there are steps that we are going to use, and we need to remember these steps. And to help us remember these steps, we're going to use our mnemonic device. David's mom sells beef roti. So again, David's mom sells beef roti, our mnemonic device. That's going to help us remember the steps in solving our long division problem. Now we're going to be using the first letter from each word in our mnemonic device. So we have our D, M, S, B, and R. So let's go straight into our steps. Now steps to help solve our long division problems. So D, our first step, would be divide. Step 2 would be multiply. Step 3 would be subtract. So we see the D, divide, M, multiply, S, subtract. That's B. Would be our fourth step, which means bring down. And step 5 would be repeat. If while working on a problem, we need to repeat the process of divide, multiply, subtracting, or bringing down. Now here we have a problem in which we have to divide 844 by our divisor 3. So our dividend 844 divided by our divisor 3. So here we have our number sentence, a problem, and in our working column, our long division symbol. So here we have our dividend and divisor placed in our long division symbol, divisor 3 on the outside, and our dividend 844 inside of that working column on long division. Now here we have our first step in which we have to divide, and we're going to be dividing using our first digit in our dividend 8, going to be divided by our divisor 3. So we're asking ourselves, how many groups of 3 can we get from 8? We can get 2 groups of 3 from 8. So now we move on to our second step in which we have to multiply. So we're going to multiply that group of 2 by our divisor 3. So when we multiply, we get 6. Now we have to move on to our next step, which is subtract. So that 6 that we got, that 6 goes below that first digit that we were working with, that 8. So now we're going to subtract 6 from 8, and we get 2. Now let's kind of do some comparing here. How many groups of 3 can we get from 2? So how many times can 3 go into 2? We cannot. So this is where we go into our next step of bringing down, because we cannot get groups of 3 from 2. So we're going to bring down our 4. Now this brings us to where we have to repeat our process. So we have to go back. So now divide. So now we have to find out now how many groups of 3 can we get from 24. We get 8 groups of 3 from 24. Remember, we had to divide. How many times can 3 go into 24? So we got 8. Now, remember, our next step would be to multiply. So we're now going to multiply that 8 that we got when we found out how many groups of 3s that we can get from 24. So 8 now will be multiplied by our divisor 3. 8 multiplied by 3 will give us 24. So now we are going to our next step, which would be to subtract. So we are now going to subtract that 24 that we got when we multiply divisor 3 by 8. So we're now going to subtract that 24 from our 24, which would give us 0. All zeros. Now here we still have another number 4 that we have to use. Now first, let's compare how many times or how many groups of 3 can we get from 0. We cannot. So this is where we go on to our next step, in which we have to bring down. So we are going to bring down that last digit 4 in our dividend. Now we are going to have to repeat our process. So now we have to divide again. So we're asking ourselves, how many groups of 3 can we get from 4? We are going to get 1 group of 3 from 4. We still have to continue with our next step, which will be to multiply that 1 that we got by our divisor 3. So 3 multiplied by 1 would give us 3. We still have to continue with our steps. So here we got 3. Now our next step would be to subtract. So now we're going to subtract that 3 from 4. So 4 take away 3 will leave us with 1. Now since that 4 was our last digit that we brought down, we don't have any more digits to bring down. That 1 is our final working there. So that 1 is our last answer, final answer there. We're bringing down and multiplying with the process. So here we are at the end of our problem with a remainder of 1. So our answer and our quotient would be 281 remainder 1.